5.8 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's, the most common of dementias. By the year 2050, that number is expected to more than double. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests, a few years ago, I had to put my sweet 85-year-old mother in a nursing home. While she looked great physically, it was her mind, riddled with dementia, that stopped her from being able to care for herself. Since that time, I have become passionate in learning everything I can to improve my memory and reduce my risk of dementia. Tonight, I am going to share some of the fascinating facts that I have learned through my research on this topic. It is my hope that by the end of my speech, you too will choose to take action to improve your memory and reduce your risk of dementia. In her book, Think, Learn, Succeed, neuroscientist Dr. Caroline Leaf shares an astounding statistic. 75 to 98% of all physical and mental illness comes from our thought life. Let me repeat that. 75 to 98% of all physical and mental illness comes from our thought life. Ladies and gentlemen, your brain is the most powerful organ in your body, yet it weighs only about 3 pounds. And if you'll put your fists together, this shows the size of your brain. Despite that small size, it is filled with trillions of thoughts. From the time of conception through present day, you have been thinking, feeling, and choosing, and each one of those thoughts creates structures in your brain. Scientists call it the neuron forest because it actually looks like tree branches growing in your brain. Now, depending on what types of thoughts you're thinking, will determine what type of structures you're creating in your brain. Research done by Dr. Eric Kandel actually shows that as humans, we are wired for good and healthy thoughts. There are no circuits in our brain for fear. And as Dr. Carolyn Leaf puts it, we are wired to live in the love zone. This is our normal, this is our default. But because God gives us free will, we can choose to live in the fear zone. However, the problem with that is when we live in the fear zone, every negative thought we're thinking actually creates toxic structures in our brain versus the normal, healthy structures. The good news is we have the power to change the structure of our brain simply by becoming aware of each negative thought and reconceptualizing that thought into something positive. And you can actually learn more how to detox your brain by reading that book. One of the interesting facts that Dr. Caroline Leaf comes up with in this book too is she links this scientific evidence to the Bible. There's actually a scripture, Deuteronomy 30:19, that says, I lay before you life and death, blessings and curses. Choose life so that you and your descendants may live. In other words, if we live in that love zone, we're going to live long lives. Now, I would like to share with you some tips for improving your memory, and this comes from world memory expert Jim Quick. Starting with number 1, a good brain diet. I'm going to share with you quickly the top 10 brain foods, and I'm going to use a technique that I learned from Jim Quick as far as memorizing it. Avocados, blueberries, broccoli, coconut oil, eggs, green leafy vegetables, wild salmon, turmeric, the spice, walnuts, and dark chocolate. don't ask questions. Number 2, exercise. Anything cardio is especially great for the brain because it gets the blood and the oxygen flowing to the brain. So walking, running, cycling. Number 3, a positive peer group. Have you ever heard that you are a combination of the 5 people you spend the most time with? It is so true. Attitudes and energy are so contagious. Number 4, a clean environment. I don't know about you, but when my place is out of order, I am not in a good mood. They say clean on the outside equals clean on the inside. Number 5, sleep. 7 to 8 hours is the optimal amount for adults. The reason why sleep is so important for the brain is because this is when your brain goes into housekeeping mode. It actually consolidates all the thoughts during the day and gets rid of the toxic proteins that are accumulating in your brain. When you don't get enough sleep, you actually are increasing your chances for dementia by those toxic things. And number 6, new learnings. We as human beings are wired to be intelligent human beings, but we are only as intelligent as we choose to be. Dr. Leaf recommends 1 hour a day spending time learning something new. And not just scanning articles, but actually reading them, thinking about them, learning them, so you develop new good pathways in your brain. And finally, the resources that I use for this speech are listed here. I strongly encourage you to take action to improve your memory. And remember, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right. Toastmaster.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we don't erase it, so if you just hit.
Just hit this.